pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First, have the approval of the financial report. I've got it here, so everyone else to see. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second. Who's in their mailboxes?
Bob, can you read some of the figures off that?
What do you
Please.
want to hear?
The top part about the balances in the bank accounts.
Well, for general fund, 691, 575.87. For highway, 359, 651.54. Capital projects is a negative $40,080. Unexpendable time deposits, 6,000. Fire protection district 1, 0. Water fund, $66,069.21. Trust and agency, $5,025.08. And total all funds, $1,088,240,098.
Is the money market one labeled there? Which one was that? Isn't there a money market account one?
Second one down, first page.
That's highway. Oh, money market, yeah. $211,527.37.
Thank you.
Motion to approve by Councilman Panic, second by Councilman Pacer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of the minutes of the public hearing for the preliminary budget.
So moved.
Second. Motion and seconded to approve the minutes of the public hearing for the preliminary budget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of the public hearing on the fire protection.
So moved. Second.
Second by Councilman Decent to approve the minutes of the public hearing on fire protection. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes of the November 14th town board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Decent, second by Councilman Pacer to approve the minutes of the November 14th town board meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Approval of the fire department monthly report.
Do you want to read that, Bob?
Approval of what? Sorry.
Fire.
Your Stafford Fire Department, let's see, this is from Matthew Your Stafford Fire Department answered 29 calls for service in the month of November. Included in these calls were structure fires, motor vehicle collisions, and EMS requests. We have also completed approximately 158 man-hours of training through the month. This includes salvage and overhaul, truck company operations, and elevator rescue. Lastly, I'd like to thank those who came to support our pancake breakfast fundraiser. Included in that would be the volunteers for their time and the local businesses for their donations. Regards, Tim. Motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Cannon to approve the fire department report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of ZEO report. Any questions? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Shrine to approve the approve the report of the ZEO. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you go, I'm gonna put that here. Next, we have the report from the assessor's office. I officially started on November 15th and have been working my way through piles of sales, building permits, bank codes, land separations, and making sure the exemption renewals were mailed out. I want to say thank you to the bookkeeper, code enforcement officer, and town clerk and her deputies for helping me with all my various questions and needs. I've had the pleasure of being able to meet a few of the residents. I look forward to working with all the residents. Thank you. Well, we get to have somebody make a motion to approve that.
So moved. Second. Oh,
Okay.
Ed.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Patty to approve the report from the assessor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Resolution 52, adopting local law number 3 of 2022. Whereas proposed local law number 3 of 2022 of the Town of Stafford, entitled Town of Stafford Amendment of Section 35-2 of the Stafford Town Code, which proposed local law in its final form was presented to the Town Board at the meeting held on November 14th, 2022, and a copy thereof was kept with the town clerk, and copies both laid upon the desk of the members of the Stafford Town Board and mailed to each member of the Town Board members not in attendance at that said meeting. Whereas a public hearing on the advisability of enacting said proposed local law was held on December 12th, 2022, before this Town Board pursuant to public notice duly published in the Daily News according to law, at which time all interested persons were heard. And whereas pursuant to Part 617.4, parenthesis B, parenthesis 2, of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, State Environment Quality Review Act, SECRA, it has been determined by the Town Board of the said Town of Stafford that adoption of said proposed local law is a Type 2 action and would not have a significant impact upon the environment, and could be processed by other applicable governmental agencies without further regard to seeker. And whereas the town board of the town of Stafford, New York is of the opinion that adoption of said proposed local law number 3 of 2022 is in the best interest of the town of Stafford, New York, and now therefore be it resolved by the town of Stafford, town board of Stafford, New York, that a candidate for the office of assessor, zoning officer, or code enforcement officer may be appointed so long as they are an elector in Genesee County or any county contiguous with Genesee County. Said proposed local law number 3 of 2022 be and the same hereby is adopted, and be it further resolved that a certified copy of said local law number 3 of 2022 be filed with the New York State Secretary of State in accordance with laws, dated December 12th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, seconded by Councilman Panic. Roll call.
Councilman Panic?
Yes.
Councilman Sherriam?
Yes.
Councilman Deason?
Yes.
Councilman Pacer?
Yes.
Supervisor Clement?
Yes. Passed 5-0. Item number 9, Resolution 53. Resolution to approve the 8th amended Town of Batavia and Town of Stafford Financial Clerical Services Agreement. Whereas the Town of Batavia, hereinafter Batavia, and the Town of Stafford, hereinafter Stafford, entered a contract entitled Towns of Batavia and Stafford Financial Clerical Services Agreement, dated December 31st, 2014. And whereas Stafford no longer employs a financial clerk and has requested Batavia to provide financial clerk services for Stafford, and whereas the town of Batavia has determined that it has the ability to provide these services by using Batavia Town Financial Clerk and Secretary to the Supervisor without reducing the level of service provided to the town of Batavia. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Stafford, New York, that the proposed 8th amended Town of Batavia and Town of Stafford Financial Clerical Services Amendment, a copy of which is annexed hereto and made part of the town board minutes, is hereby approved, and the town supervisor is authorized and directed to sign this agreement on behalf of the town of Stafford. Motion to do that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Schramm. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. Item number 10, Resolution 54, Fire Protection for 2023. Whereas the town of Stafford has established a fire protesting district known as the Stafford Fire Protesting District, embracing the entire territory of the town, as duly adopted by resolution of the town board of the town on the 25th day of June 1945. And whereas the town wishes to contract with the fire department for furnishing fire protection services to said fire district for a period from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. And whereas a public hearing was held at the town hall on November 14th, 2022, and such hearing having been called for the purpose of aiding in the determination of whether a contract should be made between the town and fire department for further fire protection. And whereas the town board of the town at its monthly meeting held November 14th, 2022, duly authorized this contract with the fire department for fire protection services for the said fire protection district upon the terms and provisions set forth, and whereas this contract has been duly authorized by the governing board of the fire department, now therefore the town does engage and contract with the fire department to furnish fire protection to said protection district from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. Motion by,
So moved.
Just a quick one, from January 1st, 2023 to, oh, all right, I get it.
okay,
Never mind.
who made that? Pick a name.
I did, or Jimmy did, one or the other. I'll sign it if Jimmy gets us the offer.
Okay, gotcha. Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Schram. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. On the 13th. Resolution 56, authorizing budget transfers for 2022. There's a sheet here, and does everybody, everybody got one? There's overages on some and shortages on the other, so this equals it all out, so. A motion to approve that.
Could you tell us what those transfers are, what accounts, what departments?
From A1355.2, $100, to A1355.12, from 1220.13, that's $1,000, to A1620.42.
What accounts are those though?
I'm reading them to you.
Yeah, but just the numbers,
It's
what
in
are the
budget.
titles of
Do you
them?
have a copy of the budget?
Yes, at home. So this is,
Just-
these numbers will match
This-
All right.
that.
This is a public
Okay.
packet, we'll give it back to you.
Yeah, if you don't want me to read them all, I will see if you get a copy of this.
Okay.
Motion to do this?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Resolution 57, hiring for MEO position. Hiring Jay Lewis for part-time MEO for the Highway Department. Whereas the town highway department needs a part-time MEO, and that MEO stands for motor equipment operator. And whereas the town highway department shall hire Jay Lewis as part-time MEO on as needed basis with a rate of $26.50 per hour. Therefore, the town of Stafford shall hire Jay Lewis, as a part-time MEO on as-needed basis at the rate of $26.50 per hour. Motion by,
So moved.
Second. Neil is right on Stafford.
who seconded that?
I did.
I'll do the roll call. Councilman Panic,
Yes.
Councilman Schram,
Yes.
Councilman Deason.
Yes.
Councilman Pacer,
Yes.
Supervisor Clement. Passed 5-0. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I
Oh, I'm sorry.
did the roll
Oh, I'm sorry.
call. Training in New York City for CEO and ZEO. This is
No, it's this one,
an invitation this February 19th through the 22nd at the New York Marriott Marquis, New York, New York. Annual training and school. For those who wish to attend, the town clerk will have the particulars on that.
Jerry, there's a certain number of hours you gotta put in every year, is that
24,
24?
so that only covers 16 of them. And we usually go to Rochester in March.
So there's mileage increase questions. Apparently the increase, according to our minutes of the meeting in January, the mileage was continued for the entire year, but apparently it changed in July, and we did not make the change. So we won't do about that.
Do we normally make changes when it changes during the year?
No, I never.
It's only ever happened one other time in history.
Is this the government federal IRS rate? Is it to the state? Do they have a different rate for the state, or do they follow IRS?
No, they all follow the same.
Alright.
I have there was a motion made by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Deason, that mileage is paid at the rate of 58.5 cents per mile, substantiated by a voucher with itemized bill which must be submitted monthly or quarterly. Motion passed 5-0, and this was, where was this, at the January meeting?
It's organizational meeting.
The organizational meeting.
What's the difference?
4 cents.
Yeah, goes to 62.
But it's not even, to me, it's not even worth the discussion.
It's
Maybe
only for the
when,
last 6 months, so it's not
Yeah.
even 6 months.
maybe come January, we should simply state we follow the IRS. And that would, then we don't even have to make motions like this. Rather than, you know. So, move it to the IRS.
So in other words, for the first 6 months, it'll be
Effective January 1st.
58.5. Now, do you want to increase it or not?
Effective January. With the
Yeah,
organization.
effective January 1st.
You just make it at the organizational meeting in January, right?
Right.
I mean, 4 cents, what are we arguing over, $1.50 or something, or Jerry's gonna get more of? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
What's it amount to? Did you figure out what it amounts to?
About 75 hours.
$75? How many miles you travel? Wow.
One month I had 357 miles.
Now, you're doing it from here to the job site, right?
Correct, unless that's my day off, then I do it from home. Some days it works out in your favor, some days it works out in my favor.
So, what do you want to do here? Make the change or
Make
not?
the change from July 1st then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's make the change, make a motion to make the change from July 1st. Let it be from 20 22 to increase the mileage by, its total mileage by 4 cents.
Second?
Second.
Motion by,
Let me get this right. Motion changed mileage from July first
Yeah.
Yes, that's effective date of the change.
to now,
Yeah,
Because it would
to
have
the
gone
end of the
to the
year.
end of the year.
to the, yeah, to effective immediately.
yeah, for the
Okay.
final.
It was the remainder of the year.
The original first 6 months was 58.5 cents, and the motion would be for the final 6 months of 2022 would be 62.5 cents per month. Motion by Councilman Tran, second by Councilman Pacer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 5-0. Okay, item number 17. Kathy Worthington, error in budget, where is that?
Can we start with the tax rate? Do we know what the new tax rate's gonna be?
Yeah, I can give it to you. It's gonna be, the town tax rate's gonna be $1.24, and your fire tax is gonna be 60, it's gonna go down. Stand by for me, I apologize. So in 2022, your tax rate for fire was $2.02, your town rate was 89 cents. For 2023, your fire tax is gonna be $1.68, and your town tax is gonna be a rate of $1.24. Your combination for 2022 was 291, this year will be 292. So your combined rate will go up a penny.
And the town one though goes off our assessment value,
Right.
right?
So doesn't the fire.
Right,
So doesn't the fire. So what you saved on the assessed value, we had put on the town to increase the amount of money we brought in.
Further questions?
I guess not on that one, okay. Error in budget, so. I ran out of ink at home, so I couldn't print it. On the notice that Barb posted on the preliminary budget, remember Barb, you sent it to me with the payroll amounts? I have it in my email. I mean,
Okay, I don't remember, but, yeah.
hold on. So it was the amount of the salaries, like,
Oh, there was the.
the highway
yes.
department was gonna be 6450, the town clerk 3600, or 36,000. You know which one I'm talking about, Barb?
Yes.
The
that
one you
was
sent it to me?
The public notice.
Right, the
Yes.
public notice. So on there, it said the councilmen's, for each, we're gonna make 4,000 each. But on the budget, it says more. So which is right?
There was no change from last year or from this year till next year.
It should be the same on 2022 as it was in 2023. There was no increase for the council.
I understand that, but this, what she posted said 4,000. I mean, that's what I read.
That's correct.
And then on the budget, it was different. So which is it? There's a difference.
Yeah,
It'll be the budgeted amount.
The budget, the posted budget would be the correct amount.
Sounds like a typo in the listing.
Mm-hmm, that must be.
anything else?
Yeah, the code of ethics one next. So the town does have a code of ethics
Yeah,
file, and I sort of read some of that.
yeah.
It did print, I'm sorry, my budget thing did print. So I called the Attorney General's office and I was advised to do it this way. So I need to give these two letters of complaints to Barb. I signed them. I need to give them to you, Bob, one for you, and then one for Mr. Pacer. So I'd like it, Bob, if you could read those.
Okay. Details of complaint, letter of complaint, misconduct against Town Supervisor Robert Clement. Dates of incidents, Monday, November 14th, 2022, during a public meeting. I have repeatedly requested a face-to-face meeting with Supervisor Clement to discuss issues and concerns in our town, and he refuses to meet with me. I was unable to attend a November 21st, 2021 meeting and had emailed my questions to him and copied the town clerk. They were not read at the meeting, nor were they answered, nor at any other meetings letters have been read. Here are the dates. Most recent, December 1st, no reply. September 22nd, no reply. September 16th, did reply to this via email. Have had to email many times regarding Weather District with no replies. Failure to speak with or reply to residents' concerns in timely manner, and completely replies such as "I am not sure, I don't know," with no follow-up answers, or just plain no reply at all, are unacceptable answers from a town supervisor. Well, I might not have had an answer to your questions. When it comes to Water District 12, that's up in the air, and I don't have any good answers for you for that.
I had some and still have other concerns that I would like to speak to you, preferably not at a public hearing. I mean, we can do it here, but it just makes our meetings go so much longer. I'm just trying to learn how our town operates a little
It's
better.
not gonna be between you and I privately. That's
Oh,
not-
no, I mean,
that's
you
not
could have
happening.
other board members or someone
Well,
else.
I'm here, you're here.
Okay, well, I don't wanna do it now, I don't have my list. Can we set up a time when I can come to your office?
No,
So you don't meet with anyone?
no.
Okay.
If you wanna meet with me, it'll be in this room with a witness.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's fine with me.
Well,
But during the regular
Oh,
town
during
meetings.
during regular town meetings, not
Yep.
during the week?
I don't see any point. If you wanna do this at the next town board meeting, we'll do it. We'll put you on the agenda.
No, I'm gonna be out of town at the next town board meeting.
Well, whatever's convenient for you.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see, we have another letter of complaint, misconduct against Councilman Robert Pacer. Language toward me during public meeting regarding fire department budget. When I asked a question to Fire President James Call regarding the department purchasing more land with money from proposed budget, Councilman Pacer raised his voice and said the bullshit that comes out of that orifice is astounding. This was uncalled for and certainly no way for an elected official to talk to a resident taxpayer or simply wanting to clarify where and how our taxpayers are being spent, especially during a public budget meeting. Well, that change, I feel I deserve a public apology, but more importantly, the residents and taxpayers of Stafford deserve a full disclosure of all details regarding the purchase of this land, including the cost. I'll respond to that second paragraph. That is a private business dealing between Mr. Pacer, not Councilman Pacer, but Mr. Pacer and the Stafford Fire Department. And it has the results of that business dealing have no point here at this table.
Well, I was just, as I was at the last meeting, just concerned over the fire department's budget, how they were spending our money. I don't care who they spend it to. My question at the time was, directed to the fire department to sort of get answers off their budget.
Well,
So I'll deal with Jamie on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further comments?
I'll answer the part about apologizing publicly. I will not now or ever apologize for what I said.
Okay.
Okay. Does that conclude item 17?
Yes.
Okay. Where, okay, we'll go back to item number 11. Eric,
Good evening.
all good news about 12?
Sorry for the delay.
Thank
Our
you.
department elections tonight.
Perfect time.
Thank you. Okay, wanted to give a quick update on District 12. So first, I think last time we talked, I indicated I was gonna go back, we're kind of working back and forth with the contractor on were they okay with their bid prices. So for the most part, yes, it was a few items they're gonna ask for an increase for. So labor has gone up, so New York State wage rates have gone up since the bidding timeframe. The main pipe supplier is gonna hold their price, so we're good on the main pipe supplier. So really between labor, the only other main item was the directional driller is gonna ask for more money for the directional drills. So for the most part, don't have the final in writing number, but it looks like about $50,000 increase is what they're gonna be asking for on top of the bid prices. Now that fits within the contingency we have. So the budget that we went over at the last meeting, we had included a $350,000 contingency. So that obviously $50,000, we can absorb that with that amount. So that's, I guess, some of the good news. So what you have in front of you is the final map plan report. And I see a few of you already kind of went to this page towards the back, which was the summary table that we gave you guys at the last meeting. So this report essentially concludes based on the agreement that the town made with the county for the county contribution. That ultimately we're looking at a $4,479,000 capital project to utilize 8 and 12-inch PVC water main. With our grant components, the local share matches what was in the original map planner report. So ultimately, the debt service per unit does not change. So the original report, we were roughly $505 a year. With this amended report, we're $505 a year. So that's the good news from a debt service standpoint to the people in the district. The only impact to the annual cost is related to the usage. And you'll see a line item towards the bottom, capital reserve fund. So just a reminder, what that's for is because we're going to switch from ductile to PVC. The town has to establish a capital reserve fund to cover major repairs for the water main with the water authority agreement. So we'll have to get an amended water authority agreement that'll cover that. But we proposed a capital reserve fund contribution of $60 per unit. So ultimately,
Per year or per month?
per year. So ultimately, the original budget looked at a total annual cost per unit of $884 per year. I think in that report we rounded it up to $885. And this report, same thing, we rounded it up to $945 a year. So units, I will point out, we did go back through, because since we've written the original report, there's been parcels that have merged, parcels that have subdivided. So we did go back through, and the unit count is actually the same as what it was before, 91 units, just it changed as far as there was, I think, one more single family compared to some of the vacant developable parcels went down. So ultimately though, it's the same number of units, it just changed in the categories.
Excuse me, Eric, does that mean there's no half units being?
There are half units. There's still half units.
Can I get a list of those parcels that have full units and half units on the assessor?
Yes. But we're not gonna be doing that, I mean, it's not gonna get assessed yet, so.
Right, I just would still like to look at the list.
Yep, yeah, I can pass that along.
How is it right to have, this District 12 have half units and none of the other town that, parcels in Stafford have half units?
Other districts have had half units per their reports,
In Stafford?
yes.
I thought that came up once before.
Yeah, then there wasn't, yeah, there wasn't any.
Okay.
Not on the assessment thing that we looked at, there's no half units.
Everything put in front of us has shown half units so far on 12.
But not in the past, you said. So you,
Past reports have had it, I'm not sure if they've been assessed that way. That would be the question, I guess, but again, past reports, I did go back and look through at some of the past district reports, and they all had a designation for half unit.
So what do you get a list of these half units? Who's got them and who doesn't?
I wouldn't have them. For those previous districts, I wouldn't have them.
Who would?
I can look through my files and see if I can find
I
something.
mean, it's only fair, I think.
I don't know.
Should
What
be in the
designates a
past
half
water
unit
district
versus a
files.
unit? What designates a half unit versus a unit?
So a unit is essentially any parcel that's gonna get a water service is considered a full unit. So a single family house is a unit.
Right.
Most of the commercial businesses we have out here are a unit. There are, let's see here, two family residential parcels and two 3-family residential parcels. Those will be charged per the original report. And this one, 1 unit for the first family dwelling and then half a unit for each additional family dwelling. So 2-family residential will be charged 2 units apiece. 3-family residential will be charged, yeah, 2.5 units apiece. Or, sorry, 2-family residential, 1.5 units. 3-family residential will be 2 units. And then half a unit is a parcel that is vacant, not within a New York State certified ag district, and developable. So it's not, so there's some landlocked parcels on here that we're not charging, or not proposed to be charged. If a parcel is just a small postage lot that per local zoning, we couldn't build a house on without a zoning variance. So really, it's any parcel that if someone wanted to build a house on it next year, they can. Those are the ones proposed to be charged a half unit.
That doesn't really seem absurd. I mean, everybody's at least getting charged 1 full unit.
So legally, per New York State law, if a parcel can be served, they really legally have to be charged something.
Right.
That designation varies municipality to municipality. I have some municipalities that do a full unit for a vacant parcel.
I just don't want, I don't think we can afford to fight anything that's gonna bring this backwards. That's the thing. Because I think if we look at the cost that we're spending as well people in the district, it's astronomical. I mean, I can't even tell you how much money I'm spending to maintain this well, to replace things. I've had to dig up my slab foundation to replace my stack. I mean, I've had I got a brand new 2 years ago, tankless hot water heater, and it ate a hole through it in 2 years. Salt's up to $12 a bag. I mean, I'm paying to bring in 6, 7, 8, 5-gallon things of water a month. You know, it's maintenance is becoming quite an issue, and my well's on the fritz. And I can't imagine I'm the only one, because there's not a lot of new builds in Stafford. So you're talking about $10,000, $15,000 to drill. And I do not want to be faced with that bill. I'm scraping clay out of my tub, clay out of my toilets. You know, I think at this point, anything we can do to move forward.
What's the timing on this?
So we have to have an action from the town attorney, so unfortunately, he was not able to get the resolution prepared for tonight. So there's 2 resolutions he's gonna need to get us. I think he's back in town early this week, so we're gonna get in touch with him. The resolutions are, the town board needs to accept the amended map plan report. The other resolution will be scheduling a public hearing. So this, because we're amending the unit cost and the total capital cost, which differs from what was in the original petition, there has to be a public hearing that'll go over these costs, that we obviously kind of present what the findings are, what the revised costs are, and then the town board at that public hearing will have to act on it. So what if you guys are amendable, I'm hoping if Mr. Boylan can get us those resolutions fairly quickly, if you guys would consider potentially doing a special meeting just to pass those 2 resolutions. We'll have to just organize timing with you. And
Why
then,
can't we just do a resolution?
because there
for
has
the
to
public
be,
hearing?
certain legal aspects that he has to do.
For the public hearing
Yes.
portion? I can see the contract portion.
Both portions. I don't wanna screw it up. So, number one, you guys have to accept the map plan report, and same thing, there's language that the attorney's gonna want. You can't do
No,
anything
that-
until
that
you
I-
accept it.
That I understand.
Yep.
I'm surprised that we have to have one to simply set the date for a public hearing.
There's certain language in there that he needs to provide with the advertisement and all that other stuff.
Plus we need 5 days of posting, correct? Or
At least 10.
After that one?
10 days?
Yeah, they get no more than 20, at least 10, so.
If we don't,
I think I think he's back in town today, but
We'd like to push this along.
I'll call him first thing in the morning and,
if we don't, have a special meeting, you're gonna have to schedule a public hearing in January.
yes,
And have that, public hearing in February.
you could have it before February if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping.
In the interest of, and then after, assuming that we approve it, then, when would the contractor, put the shovel in the ground?
So then we still have to get back to RD. So RD still has to weigh in on this, they have to see the paperwork. Realistically, with a shovel, even if materials got ordered in January, you're 6 months at least.
Yeah.
It's just how materials are right now.
Yeah.
You can't go to buy.
I just don't wanna see any more time go by the wayside. I mean, like, I've been a resident for 13 years and I've been hearing about this. And I understand a lot of the logistics that have happened, but I think it's just getting to the point where, again, like, annual maintenance for water is just, it's frustrating when you're trying to bathe your kid and, you know, you got dirt coming out of your faucet. It's really frustrating. I had to pay somebody, obviously, it's a luxury item, but I had to pay somebody $1,000 to fill my pool. It's kind of crazy, you know? And like I said, we've literally had to jackhammer up our foundation because the copper piping that's in our house is literally the consistency of aluminum foil. You could push your finger right through it.
So really, like I said, if we can get Mark to get these resolutions to us this week, we'll get together with you.
Yeah.
See if you can schedule a special meeting before the holidays. And then, you know, my recommendation would be maybe if you want to try to get, then you just gotta pick a date when you want to do the public hearing. So
Yeah.
we'll just work together on that date, so make sure. I'm
And everyone in the water district, I believe you said, will get an actual letter
Yeah, so.
in the mail.
Yep. Yeah, so everybody in the district has to get every property will have to, we have that list, the address list, so. Has to get a letter from the town notifying them of the date of the public hearing.
Yeah.
I got one more question on this.
Everybody getting half units, right?
Every parcel in the district. Even parcels that are not getting charged a thing because they're landlocked or ag.
So is there a limit on, you're saying parcels on a vacant lot? Okay, if I own 100 acres, that's considered one lot?
Mm-hmm.
So I pay a 1/2 unit?
Yep.
For that 100 acres?
Yep. If it's not in certified ag district.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, any further questions, Barry?
I got a question for Eric when we're done with 12.
All right.
It's, don't take,
Oh, I'm fine, yeah. If you're, anything else on 12?
I am 12. That's me. Hi.
That was a good assumption on my part. So,
Well, half is 12, the other half
right,
had an event to go to, so.
okay. Go ahead. I don't have it, we're in a time frame with Barb because, you know, obviously tax season starts January 1st for her. So we're trying to kind of push this, the majority of this through
If you could pick the 27th or 28th,
before that,
they
hopefully.
get you 10 before, and that would get
Well,
you
it's
10
gonna,
after.
depends on when we get back, and then we have to have it posted, and so that's gonna be an issue.
Then in January, when you can have your hearing.
Right, might be into January before we can have the hearing, so. So it's all gonna depends on what the attorney does.
But there's also parallel paths here, so keep in mind, we still working with RD still has to approve the amended funding package, so you're really doing two parallel paths here.
Yeah. I talked to him and it didn't sound like that was gonna be a problem.
No, it won't be a problem, but you know RD, you're probably gonna have more stuff to sign, Bob, and
Well, that's all right.
I have a couple questions. First one is there anything going on with 33 where I know the county's looking to send more water? I got an inquiry from a resident on 33 if there's...
The plan has not been finalized, but I know there are options for some additional larger diameter main continuing down 33. The concept is to get more water supply to the tanks. So as we get more water from east to west, there has to be, so either replace pipes, existing pipes, or you put pipes where pipes aren't, which makes more sense.
So there actually is a...
There is discussion of
There
it,
is a
yes.
possibility?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's why I wanted to
Yep.
see you before I...
Yep.
I called them and I said it'll really be good if I can see you
Yep.
before I call you back.
Along with Pro Road.
Very good.
So that's in the mix too, to get, again, to
But
get
there's
water.
there's no time frame on that.
No, I mean, you're looking at $100 million project, and
Yeah.
All right, well,
we could be 6-7 years. I mean, it's
just like you, he's looking to replace his water system because it's reached end of life.
It's-
And he didn't want to put one in and then immediately...
but that's a,
But that's still in the range of
it's still,
possibility.
yes, yeah. I think they're trying to finish up the phase 3 kind of planning document in the next few months, but
I told him the discussion previously was that they were gonna try to get more supply and run it down Griswold.
that's another, they've actually talked about one pipe on either road, or maybe it's a 16-inch pipe on each road. So it's really just, you outweigh the factor of cost benefit and how many people you can serve.
Basically, you gotta get
find
from
out because
19 north road
You got it, to the tank.
to the tank.
Yep.
Whether they can jump in on the main.
Got to increase the artery size.
All
Yep.
right.
That's you gotta get from A to B.
No, that's a good answer. If not, we gotta go, we'll have to see if there's any interest in a water district. And that's what I kind of covered the procedure with, you know, first we need interest, then we do a survey, then we do an income to see if we can get grants, so he understands that. But there still is a possibility. What type of time frame are they looking at? Next 3, next 5? Or you can't say?
I don't want to give a date. It's just, like I said, there's so many factors in that one, especially the size of the project.
Do you were at the meeting where we had the guy, this is my next question, I'm done with the other one, I'm gonna ask the other one. You were at the meeting with the guy from Municipal Solutions, right? We had here, and one of the questions was...
The recent meeting?
Yeah, we had a recent meeting.
You were on the phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a meeting
that's
I was
right,
trying to
you
get
were
to the
on the
light.
phone.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. Jeff came independently.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
I thought you were on the phone at the same time.
No, I
No,
don't
I
think I
don't
was.
think so.
All right.
I just helped get him there.
So I may need to get the update from him. One of the things we asked him was, you have the other towns like Bergen has done and Elbert's done, where they've gone with whole town water districts. And his answer is that the first thing that's changed is that prior to that, USDA wouldn't fund whole towns. Then he also said that once you start on doing the district by district, you gotta stay district by district.
You don't have to stay.
There's, because I was gonna say, all of a sudden I'm hearing Leroy is
We'll update
doing,
it, but that's a worry zone. Thank you. Yeah, you don't have to stay with that concept. So you're right though. So originally, you've been around a while, when we looked at everything south of Route 5, it was gonna be one water district. And then eventually RD came back and said, we're gonna, I think at the time they said a max grant of $1 million a piece. So that's when we said, okay, we're gonna split this up from one district to smaller districts to fit that mold. RD's finally understanding that they can do 8, 10 stacks of paperwork for 10 districts, or one stack of paperwork and just get it done. So that's their mindset. So could be something that we could easily look at for Stafford. We're doing the same thing for Leroy right now, where they just submitted an application to RD to essentially infill all the other roads.
Yeah, because now like with Swing Road, because I live there, when I asked, we're lucky we have plentiful, slightly hard, no sulfur water. So the interest for a water district, I would say, is mediocre at best. I have one person who's inquired, and I asked him, is there anybody else with interest so we could look into a survey, and I haven't heard back yet.
So what we did with Leroy, we did with Lima recently, and Livonia, we sent out, we did an online survey. So we sent out a mailer to basically all the properties that have water, just to get their feedback. So it was an informal survey, kind of asking some basic questions: are you satisfied with water quality, etc. And then bottom line, what are you willing to pay? So Leroy had favorable, actually all 3 municipalities had favorable results, enough where it was warranted the towns proceeding to the step of getting a report put together, informing the district, and trying to find the money.
All right, then to do that, well, there's been inquiries on 33, inquiries on Caswell. I think another inquiry on Horseshoe Lake, just recently. Didn't somebody ask about Horseshoe Lake?
Yes, absolutely. And West Town.
If they ever do
West
something.
Town too.
How much does it cost to do a survey? like
Survey's
that?
nothing, that's just getting a quick address list together, and we would help out. It's
So a few $1,000s.
No, we wouldn't, like I said, we wouldn't trade you for that, so. It's a basic,
A freebie.
yeah, we do that for, you guys are a long-standing client, so it's one of these things where, like, there's not a lot of effort on our end, just to see where the feedback
Yeah.
is.
And I think a lot of it is because Bergen's working on 33. People have never asked before.
That's what happens, they see it, see it down the road a little bit, and.
I asked Barb if what we can do is just take a quick Stafford map and start putting dots and names of addresses of people that have inquired.
Yep.
See, they already gotta put a brand new fire hydrant on 33, because somebody clipped one the other night and knocked it right out the foundation.
What, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, those were my,
What's the controller's cutoff right now for money, without a waiver?
989, I think
Is there talk of maybe raising that, obviously costs are.
I think it's gonna go up.
It's gotta be.
So
because our
January
minimum
1st, we'll have
costs
new
are
numbers.
Right there already, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
January 1st, we'll have new numbers.
Okay.
did you consider doing that survey?
Where are we on, the Bethany project for?
That one
Sweetland
may end
Fargo?
up changing a different direction.
Or are we gonna end up doing that ourselves?
You may have to do it yourselves, unfortunately, so.
Cause it's been promised for,
So Bethany's in the same boat from a cost standpoint, where they really can't, they're looking at going to PVC, but they're also looking at changing from the Monroe County Water Authority to Town of Batavia, doing the O&M. Main reason being is we can only get enough cost savings with the PVC pipe, which we can do with either supplier. But Monroe County Water Authority has pretty tight restrictions on tanks and pump stations. So if we go with the Town of Batavia, our pump station costs go from 1.5 million a piece to 500,000 a piece. And if we go, and then same thing, we can go with a glass line steel tank. So both avenues, we're gonna save about $3 million between those two items to make that project affordable. By doing that, you're actually not gonna feed, we would actually feed from Town Line Road into there, so we wouldn't need. So again, but I think if there's a discussion of doing a survey,
We,
include everybody else in the survey.
we need to finish up that stretch of Sweetland and Fargo.
Yep. So if you guys are interested, we'd gladly help you get a survey together after the first
Please.
year.
And
Well, the thing I'd hate,
Westcott.
thing I'd hate to happen is have us have a survey that isn't publicized come out and people not respond to it. Barb, when's our next newsletter go out?
Not until, like, after tax season, April,
April.
May. Maybe it's too late for you guys for that.
Well,
No?
no, we have to look at ideas on how we
Okay, after tax season,
have them respond.
please,
So you do, you do a newsletter to everybody?
Twice a year.
Okay. When's that?
It'll be April sometime.
April.
April, May.
Timeframe.
We wanted
in
to-
there.
That would be the easy way, if you're already mailing, you don't have to mail them out individually, everybody that normally will do it to everybody that doesn't have water, but you can just do it, put it in there, and put the link, we can provide a link, QR code, so it's all online. And we can just say in the newsletter, we can help you with some language, that if you don't have water, you know, please log into this link and fill out the information, that way you guys know.
We got about 3 miles to finish up south of 5,
Yep,
and that block will be done.
You have a lot more north of 5.
A lot bigger area, but the south side really needs to.
Key north of 5 is what they feed off 33, that would be a huge thing. That'd be easy,
I mean, we could knock those 3 off on the south side.
We maybe not be considered at
A
this table
small
when it's
project.
done, but it's a thought process.
Well, that's where the south side and the southeast, that's where the worst water was
Right.
in the town, at least at the time.
The Westcott, Sweetland, Fargo, it's a tough area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, whereas mine, it's hard to convince them to even look at it. So,
I definitely think you need to push on those 3 on that side, for sure.
well, yeah, you wanna do it by need.
Yeah.
But again, this guy's saying the same thing, he's gotta expend $12,000. Well, let's keep tracking these people as they have
I
inquiries.
started.
If you would, if you guys get inquiries from people, make sure to forward them to Barb, name, address, telephone number, and where, you know, then we can keep track of who's inquired.
So for 12, we're just waiting, basically, we're gonna wait on the attorney. As soon as he takes
Yep.
action, we
Yeah,
can
Eric
take
and I
action. Okay.
talked to them.
All right.
Okay, I've expended myself.
Well, at least we know, I mean, like you say, if Bethany's gonna drag your feet,
well, it's not, it's a factor of where the water's coming from. Originally, it would have to have come through Stafford, but with the change, it's gonna come through the town, so.
it's all gonna come from Monroe County, it's just taking a different route.
Yeah. Yep.
but most the Sweetland and Fargo was kinda down anyways, right? Somewhat.
Somewhat, yeah, the mains are
Somewhat
down
on
here, so.
engineering.
Oh, as far as these are, like I said, these are the minor parts, so.
Yeah.
All right, so come spring, we'll be able to
Yep,
pursue
yep,
this.
yep.
All right.
Sounds good. That other side is a tough section.
Trying. We've been trying for about 6 years on this project, so we're.
I think it's longer than
We're
6.
moving. We're moving.
But hey,
Eight.
Yeah,
I think-
well, 8 years, whatever.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to give my perspective of like literally what we deal
Right.
with. I mean, when I walked into Home Depot the other day, salt literally went from $6 a bag to like $11.97, and I
Yeah.
was like, so I think just in maintenance costs alone, I'm spending over $200 a month. So $550 a year to me is like,
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's a bargain.
yeah, and even just to find somebody to service these wells now is getting like far and few
Right.
between. And because of the age of it, I was told to service it, you literally have to dig from the outside. So if anything, he's tried everything he can at well in, I think, Attica.
Yeah.
He's tried everything he can to like keep the pressure coming in, but he's like, eventually, if it gets to the point, we're literally gonna have to dig up from the outside to access your
Right.
pump.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that's why many times municipal water makes a lot developable.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you've got land in areas that does not have good water, then water no longer becomes an issue.
Yeah, no, our water is so hard, like I said, it's literally ate through pipes, ate through our hot water tank. And, just the steam in the shower alone literally rots out the shower bar. Like, I have to replace it every 2 months. It just starts to disintegrate and rust, and so I can't even imagine. Like, we typically will cook with it if we boil it, but otherwise it comes out of the gallon, or the 5-gallon jugs that we have to lug to Home Depot every month, and so it's just a lot of maintenance.
Yeah. From the flip side.
And God forbid it goes, you know, like those people that ended up with the guy with the crack in his house, what they thought was maybe from fracking. So it put a bunch of wells, I guess, on the fritz, and there was such a timeline, like a wait timeline for drillers, to get the right equipment in there to drill, that they were having to put portable tanks outside their house and get those filled just to get water into their home. Which, you know, I have to be a nurse practitioner, and I had a patient who was telling me about, like, her summer was a nightmare just trying to keep water to the house.
We have
because of that.
people who do that.
Yeah.
That water's coming.
So I'm just trying to avoid all nightmare scenarios with 3 kids in a home, and
I never thought I'd see water hydrants where they are, but it's all dependent on the grants.
yeah.
Money.
Grants a need. You get 30 households that have the same story you have,
Right.
$2,000 a year, you'd probably sign.
Yeah,
Right,
I
so-
would literally pay, I mean, just knowing that, like, eventually in the next few years, I'm probably gonna have a $115,000 well dig,
Right.
I would literally spend anything at this point.
You should ask the guy from Municipal Solutions again, why we got, you know, we're getting one answer out of you.
Yeah, I don't know why
We got
he's, no, we could
another
easily,
answer out of him, so.
I can talk to Jeff too, so
Yeah,
I don't know why he.
If you would.
I think what Jeff said, that was the OFOD process, was that once you started the district, they got sold, you'd build. They didn't wanna come back and, you know, change the district with one.
We're not gonna change it, so we're not gonna consolidate, maybe that's what he was getting at, was consolidation.
No,
No, this is,
pretty clear question.
this would be just infilling the rest of it. so.
Yeah,
That's it.
and basically, and the answer back is, no, you can't do it, you gotta stay on your district budget, so.
Oh, we are district by district, just one door, one
So
more.
we want a
big
big district of District 14.
So
will finish
that
up
would,
now.
that would save us a lot of time, and then could you give us an email after you, letting us know that everybody's in agreement?
Yep,
Because that, for some of these, I
Oh, you
think
can-
that, that's the only hope.
we can do it, so. I agree, once you get to that point where, and that's what Leroy was, is it's just so sporadic, you know, so. and just-
Truthfully, myself, my water's good. I prefer not to have the bill.
Yep.
If it comes through, I'll hook up, so.
You get charged anyway, whether you hook up or not.
So, just not usage.
Yep. Okay,
No, excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, that's the answer I was looking for.
We'll be in touch.
okay, good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. We want to do the executive.
No, why don't we get the bills done, do the round table, do the bills.
No, when we.
I'm good. Always good, saving money.
Did you get your truck yet?
Yep. Saving money with a good winter. Just keep it up.
Ed, you have anything you want to?
District 12, but we talked, we'll just move along with it, so that's what we
Yeah.
should have.
I exhausted the couple of questions I asked Derek, was what I was gonna ask during the round table, so.
Also,
Yeah. Okay, let's pay the bills.
Can you talk about this? The youth bureau, Steve, and you and I met with the representative from the youth bureau. And we're looking at getting possibly funding from the youth bureau to help pay our youth recreation program.
Yeah, we're gonna up the grant.
Yeah, he called again today and he wants a
Because of,
status report.
The hard funds.
Something, yeah.
I think the funds are, the county's gonna use the funds for the grant.
Yeah, so he didn't really give us a quote on anything, but it's more than what they did last year, is that right?
Yeah, almost double.
So do you want us to go ahead and continue with this,
Yeah,
seeking the grant?
yeah, absolutely.
It was like 19, give or take. So
Anytime
it
we get
goes
money,
back to hardly nothing.
yeah. We're
If you want
gonna,
me to give you a hand with it,
Yeah, I would like Councilman to help with that, and, I spoke with Marcy this morning about, who we have next year, and get appropriate people for the appropriate titles. And I don't wanna do this alone, so if I could have some councilmen work with me on this,
Okay.
that would be great.
Samantha dropped all the stuff off from
Yep.
last year,
Whatever
so
you need.
she's got everything.
Yes.
She was very good.
Yeah, we're gonna miss her.
Yeah, you've gotta come see the detail, oh my goodness. What
Good.
organization they
It'll
brought
make
in.
it good for the next budget.
Yes, everything is
That'll be fine.
perfect.
Good.
All our questions, Jimmy, with what was spent where, all that is there.
There.
Who's there, discipline records of the children, notes to parents, I mean, unbelievable. Fantastic. So it's gonna be hard to.
If she wrote,
fill.
if she wrote procedures for it, we should capture them and file them so that they don't disappear.
Yep, I haven't gotten that far yet, yes. Yep, they're all in binders, everything is separated, everything is, wow,
First class job.
unbelievable.
All for $3,000.
Yeah.
That was summer job.
It's all right.
Okay, Jordan, you ready?
Make a motion to pay general fund number 12 for $28,141.84.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to pay general fund abstract number 12 in the amount of $28,141.84. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to pay highway number 12 for $11,832.16.
Second.
Are you spending money again?
No,
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to pay highway abstract number 12 in the amount of $11,832.16. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to pay water fund number 12 for a sum of $22,587.98.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Schramm to pay water abstract number 12 in the amount of $22,587.98. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to pay capital projects number 12 of $1,668.50.
$1,668
Yep, 50.
and 50 cents.
Yes.
Who seconded that?
Second.
Thank you for doing them all.
Keep it up, Jim. Doing a good job.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to pay the capital project number 12 in the amount of $1,668.50. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any further business? If not, we will adjourn at 8:45. And at the same time, we'll go into executive session.
And then